In a state Donald Trump won 4 years ago, but is in jeopardy of losing this year, and his handling of the pandemic may be one reason.
What made you go from pretty solidly for Trump to backing away from that and now winding up more on the fence?
When he said that, well, we're just going to knock this right down, well, that ain't going to happen. Not with the actions that we took. He took some right actions. I agree. Some he should have taken a lot sooner and taken a lot more seriously. What
do you think he should have done differently?
Not made such a, I don't want to say a mockery, it's not the right term, but not had it so blasé, like, this, we'll take care of this. The bravado would be, that's kind of irking me right now at this point.
NBC's Dasha Burns joins us now from East Grand Rapids, Michigan, in Kent County. It's one of the counties we're watching through Election Day in our Meet the Press County to County project. So, Dasha, I find all of these conversations you have to be really interesting. And two of the big stories lately have been, one, the virus, which you were just talking about there with that gentleman, and the other one, the president's handling of racial issues in this country after the George Floyd protests. How do you summarize what you've been hearing over the past few months?
Yeah, Katie, it's so fascinating. This is why I love this project, because I've been in touch with these voters since last November. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary here. And Jerry, who you just heard from there, when I first met him, I met him at a farmer's market in downtown, and he was echoing the president's language on impeachment. He was calling it a witch hunt. He was very much a Trump voter and speaking like one. And since then, so much has changed in all of our lives. For Jerry, it's really been the pandemic. But for another voter I talked to, a mom of two named Katie Morse, for her, it's really been the president's handling of the Black Lives Matter movement and some of this messaging he's using now to target suburban moms like her, this law and order message. She says it's actually turning her off. She says, I'm not the suburban housewife of the 1950s, and it's made her pretty frustrated and offended, in fact. And remember, Trump won both Michigan and Kent County by a very narrow margin, so he needs to hang on to these voters here, particularly this slice of the electorate that we've been following, which are these moderate Republicans. Kent County is the hometown of Gerald Ford, and it's home to a lot of voters who view themselves as moderate Jerry Ford Republicans, and they feel like they don't really have a home in this Republican Party. In fact, one voter, Hal, calls himself politically homeless. So there are a lot of factors at play here. Of course, the other big conversation is the VP pick, and that is going to be a big deal here as well and could be make or break for some of these voters. Take a listen.
I'd have a very hard time, as much as I don't want to vote for Trump, voting for Biden if he were to nominate somebody or ask somebody to be his running mate who is extremely divisive.
I think it's important, not necessarily to me as an individual, but I think for the ticket as a whole. There's still, people that need to go ahead and make their decision if they're going to vote for Trump or Biden, just like, you two gentlemen sitting here. I really like Gretchen Whitmer.
Jerry, do you agree with Katie?
No.
And that's okay.
They fall on a spectrum, Katie. And when it comes to Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, we know she is still on that short list. Katie is all for her. Hal is open. And Jerry, if Biden picks her, will probably be going for Trump. Katie?
So interesting that they would put so much stock in the VP pick. It's not as if Vice President Pence is doing much of the governing. It is Donald Trump that does the governing, as it would be Joe Biden. NBC's Dasha Burns, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.